Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Daily Meditation. It's good to be with you all. I'm Faith from Sangha Live. Particularly warm welcome to anyone who's joining us for the first time. I'm happy to have you here and hope you feel welcome by the community. As you'll see, we use the chat on the sidebar just to say where we are and how we're doing. I'm joining from the High Pyrenees in France, where it's pretty chilly this morning, but I have a warm cat on my lap, which is quite nice. And our guiding teacher for this week, as you'll see on screen with me, is Yahel Avigur, who teaches regularly with us. And so very warm welcome to you as well, Yahel. Thank you for being with us this week. And Yahel will be leading us on the theme of Samadhi, a path of reliable joy. So we'll have 5 sessions on that this week. A little bit about Yahel. He's trained in primarily in the Theravada tradition. His principal teacher was Rob Bobert, who I think others know here as well. And he's generally, at the moment, I think that's still true, located in Berlin and leading retreat. Okay, bit of movement. But he leads retreats in all over Europe, has particularly a relationship with Gaia House. Many of you practice there as well. And Tovana in Israel as well. Okay, so a little bit about how these sessions run. We have an hour together, and we start off with a little bit of Dharma instruction, wisdom teachings for about 15 minutes. And then we have about 25, 30 minutes of practice. And then there's 15 minutes at the end for questions and answers, inquiry, sharing, reflections, comments, whatever's coming up for you. We invite you to use that time. It's a nourishing time with the teacher, and also any question you have, probably someone else in the room has, so please feel free to ask it, because you'll probably be answering the question for someone else as well. How to do that? There are 2 options. You can come on screen if you would like to give that a try. The technology doesn't always work, but we do leave the option open. And to do that, you click on raise a hand at the bottom of the screen, or you can type your question in the chat. And if you do that, we just ask that you prefix your question with the word question in caps, so we can sort out questions from the rest of the comments. Okay, and the last thing I would say is that these sessions are all run on Dana. As you will see, often we have the slogan, donations make us stronger. And they definitely do. That keeps the Dharma wheel turning, that keeps Sangha Live able to keep offering this platform for all the wonderful teachers who come through our doors, and essentially to keep this community space running. So your donations always are shared with the teacher who is teaching. They're shared between Sangha Live for our operational costs, and also for the week or the day's teachers. So you have up until Friday night, midnight UK time, to offer Dana that will be shared with Yahel as well. Anything that you offer after that will unfortunately go to whichever teacher's teaching at that time. So if you want to make sure that your Dana goes to the correct teacher, please offer that this week. All right, and to do that, it's sangha.live/donate, and you can donate in all the normal ways. And I will post the link in the chat as well. So have a beautiful practice, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow. Well, I'll be here too. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. And thank you, everyone. Welcome. Yeah, really a joy to be here with you, practicing the Dhamma, speaking about the Dhamma. And basically, I'm practicing in the mornings, and I don't do anything but practice until 11 my time. So I'm very happy that you're joining me for this morning's practice. And in the morning practice, I always include one period of Samadhi practice, and that's perfect for what we're doing here. So the theme I will be focusing on, the theme we will be focusing on and centering our meditations around for this week is the theme of Samadhi. Samadhi is a path of reliable joy. It is a way in which we can reliably incline our hearts, our bodies, our minds in the direction of nourishment. It's a way to do it that's somewhat independent, that's somewhat self-reliant, and is not so much dependent on external conditions. It is not on conditions, it takes some conditions in order to do, but it doesn't take that much. Because the quality of Samadhi is a natural quality of the heart and mind, and it's one of these natural qualities that we can lean on, cultivate, and enjoy. And it brings tremendous joy and nourishment, as well as wisdom, and I'll get to that later in the week. What is the quality of Samadhi? When I say Samadhi, what do I mean? There are actually a few ways to define what Samadhi is, and sometimes the word concentration is used. The word concentration is fine, but it kind of gives not the most accurate impression. When people hear concentration, they usually assume focusing the mind on something kind of small, like really narrowing it down. But that is actually not, or not necessarily, what the quality of Samadhi means. It may be more helpful to use words like gathering, collecting, harmonizing, bringing to agreement. And what is it that we are collecting, harmonizing, bringing to agreement? It's the powers of our heart, the powers of our mind, and our body. So regularly, usually as default mode, the powers of the mind, the energies of the mind are scattered. They are managing this, managing that, thinking about this, projecting that. And the invitation of Samadhi is to bring it together, to bring it here, to settle it. Now, when it's brought together and settled, it creates a kind of energy. It's a calm energy, it's a settled energy, and it's an energy that's really is part of kind of who we are. It's part of the potential of what it means to be a human being. And it's not that far away. It's not like you need to be completely awakened to enjoy the nourishment that comes with Samadhi. However, it is a training, it is a path, it is a skill, one can say. Unfortunately, it doesn't tend to be the default mode for most people. It's definitely not the default mode for me. We need to be invited, we need to encourage it, we need to support it, we need to allow ourselves this pleasure. The Buddha referred to it as a pleasure that leads onwards, as a kind of nourishment that doesn't have so much of a cost. It doesn't demand unhelpful things from ourselves and others. It's a kind of pleasure, a kind of nourishment that's self-sustaining and leading to further wisdom. There is much more to say, but I won't say more in terms of general introduction, but I'll go in what we'll do in practice now. And it's worth saying the practice of samadhi does involve a certain level of technique. It's not that there is just one technique through which one can practice samadhi. There is actually a range. But usually the orientation, the direction of samadhi does include a kind of line of instructions, a line that you follow. So some of the instructions during the week and some of the guidance will be around kind of the how to practice. First thing that supports samadhi is your posture. And if you've been meditating for a while, maybe you already have the sense that when you're sitting in this way, or sitting in the way that your body is happy with regard to meditation, there is a kind of alignment that happens organically. There is a kind of gathering, a kind of feeling at home that happens just through the posture. It's worth investing some energy in it, making the posture comfortable, creating a wide basis. If the cross-legged posture is comfortable, go for that. If not, a chair is great. Some people need to lie down. That can work as well. Practicing in standing or walking can work as well. But what we want is a posture that allows the body a balance of being settled and open and upright. The posture of the body reflects the posture of the mind, and in a way creates the posture of the mind. And for samadhi, we want the mind both settled and alert, settled and open, upright, awake. After settling into the posture, I will invite us to do a kind of a body scan. That body scan is not just in terms of mindfulness and sensing the different parts of the body, but it will include an element of going in and softening, going in and relaxing. For samadhi, we want our body available, and our body is more available when it's somewhat relaxed. Another thing that serves samadhi is sensitivity, open and suffusing the whole body. So the practice of samadhi, and that's a kind of ongoing principle that goes beyond this particular line of technique. The practice of samadhi involves sensitivity to the whole body, sensitivity that senses the whole body and goes in the direction of something that's somewhat pleasant, that's somewhat nourishing. In order to support that, we will scan the whole body, touching and softening, touching and relaxing. Then the next invitation will be to find a point of focus, a point in which you can center your attention. For some people, it will be possible, and it would make sense to spread the sensitivity to the whole body from the beginning. But most people can enjoy a sense of center somewhere. Now, in the way we will practice today, that center, or you will be invited to place that center in relationship to the breath. Where should you be sensitive to the breath? Wherever it feels comfortable, wherever it's the nicest. If there are a few options that are equally nice, go low, right? The lower belly, the pelvis even. then you will be invited to breathe in a way that feels comfortable. That's the point that I may expand on later in the week. But now let's just say this. You can invite your body to breathe in a way that feels nourishing, comfortable. For many people, it's worth experimenting with taking a longer in-breath. Not to the point that it feels kind of pressured or artificial, but an in-breath that's longer way you breathe. Many people just by default breathe very short breathings. And it becomes the default mode, it becomes the habit. But it's not necessarily the most natural. If you find a comfortable way of breathing, stay with it. Let the mind and the body enter that groove. For some people, it feels better to make the out breath longer. You can experiment with that. Or you can make both of them longer or both of them short. You can also attune the breath so it's quite subtle, or make it a bit more gross, and that will be dependent on your level of energy and what you'll find in your experiments with regard to what feels helpful. And the last point I'll mention with regard to technique is that there will be the invitation to keep expanding the awareness to the whole body. The awareness to the whole body does not need to be limited to the boundaries of the physical body. You don't need to be kind of specific or precise in terms of where your skin envelops you. You are welcome to let that awareness be a little bit broader than the physical body, a bit wider than the physical body. So you are sitting in a sense of awareness. The body is suffused with and surrounded by awareness and sensitivity. So let us practice together. I will guide this practice all the way through. So don't feel that you need to remember everything. But I wanted to invite your mind in the direction of what it is that we will be practicing. So please find a posture that works for you. You can practice sitting, cross-legged, or on a chair. You can practice standing. You can practice lying down, if that's what's appropriate for your body, or slowly walking back and forth. Check with yourselves if you need to arrange more things in terms of cushions or shawls, etc. Do support yourself, support your body. And then invite the lower part of the body to be as wide as possible. Invite the weight of your body to ground you. You can even imagine yourself sinking in a little bit into the earth, into the ground. And then invite the upper part of the body to be open and upright in a way that feels comfortable. You don't need to force it, but rather invite it to enjoy uprightness and openness. And then we can scan the body with a compassionate intention, with the intention of softening, relaxing whatever is tense. To relieve ourselves from unnecessary tension and suffering, we can start with the head, sensing and relaxing. And the forehead and around the eyes. And down the face. Around the mouth and the jaw. And then downwards, the throat and the back of the neck, just touching and softening, touching and relaxing. Shoulders, arms, hands. Then down the spine, sensing in and relaxing the right side of the spine, the left side of the spine, all through the back. Softening around the tailbone. And down into the pelvis and down the legs. And then softening the belly and the chest as well. Making yourself sensitive to the whole body. However it feels right now. If there is a sense of demand with regard to the body, see if you can relax such a demand. Invite the body to be an authority with regard to body rather than your inner pressure or demand be such an authority. Then invite your awareness to find a center. It can be in a place in which the breath feels good or relatively good. Sometimes it is possible to invite the awareness to drop down from the head to that center. So it's not so much that you are paying attention to it, but it is as if you are aware from it. You can imagine your awareness dropping down from the head area to that center. And from there, opening, inviting sensitivity to the whole body. The awareness to the whole body will tend to shrink whenever it shrinks. Invite it to reopen. Sensitive to this center with the breath, sensitive to the whole body. You can experiment with breathing in a way that feels nourishing. You can try a longer in-breath. And see if you can attune it in a way that will feel right. You can also play with other kinds of breathing, like a longer out breath. Or decide that you like the in-breath and out-breath. Already, and you don't need or want to play with them. So we have these three ingredients: a center with the breath, sensitivity to the whole body, and the invitation to nourish yourself. With pleasant, nourishing in and out breaths. Let's sit with it for a few minutes now. If it feels right, you can make yourself especially sensitive to the front part of the body. Not only in the chest and belly area, but also the legs and pelvis and the hands and the face, the whole front part of the body. And notice how the breath feels there. What happens in the legs and the face with the in-breath? What happens with the out-breath? Sensitive to the breath with the whole front part of the body. You may sense a natural energization, kind of uplift with the in-breath. And an organic, natural relaxation, calm with the out-breath. The whole front part of the body is enjoying the breath. Invite this kind of sensitivity to the right part of the body. Again, the whole of it. Legs and middle part of the body and the hand, the neck, the face. The whole right part of the body, sensitive to the breath. What happens there with the in-breath? What happens with the out-breath? You may want to attune the breath so you're nourishing the right part of the body in a way that feels good. And then shifting the sensitivity to the back part of the body. Breathing with, breathing through the back part of the body. Any way it breathes. We can invite ourselves to be sensitive to that. How does the pelvis and the back side of the shoulders and the back of the neck feel with the in-breath and with the out-breath? Is there a way to breathe that will feel nourishing for that aspect of the body? And how about the left side of the body? Breathing in and out, sensitive to that. And then the whole body. Letting the sensitivity, letting the awareness spread in the whole body and sensitive to the in and out breath with the whole body. Sometimes at this point you can let go of the sense of center somewhere in the body and let the whole body breathe. Some people find that it's helpful to imagine all the pores of the skin. Taking air in and letting it evaporate out. It is natural that there will be more contracted aspects of body. But maybe you don't need to focus on them so much. Invite yourself to be nourished by the in and out breath in whatever way it's available. Sensitive to what feels helpful. towards the end of this practice period, you can reflect on some of the qualities that you've developed, things like patience, sensitivity, attunement, trust, energy, and many more. And you can dedicate the practice to others, near and far. And then you can let your mind review the meditation and let you know what was helpful for you. What was a helpful way of working that you may want to experiment with? And from here you can relax the intention to practice, relax the body, and invite the eyes to open. Thank you for your practice. Have about 10 more minutes together, in which you're very welcome to come on screen or write on the chat any questions, comments, reflections that you would want to share or get a response to. Question. I tend to focus breath on my nostrils. It feels very present for me. Is this unusual? Not unusual at all, no. It's quite common, actually. It's a very common thing to focus on one nostrils. It has some advantages and some things that it may be less useful for. So what is it useful for? It really helps. So there are a few ways to build samadhi, like I said in the beginning. One way is to kind of like you would take a magnifying glass and you would take the sunlight and kind of make it more concentrated, so it gains more power. You're concentrating the powers of mind. Focusing on the nostrils can be very helpful for that. It may be slightly more challenging from there to spread it to the whole body. So people that are focusing on the nostrils, sometimes what happens is that their samadhi is gathering a lot of energy and then it kind of goes to the whole body more suddenly. It tends to be slightly less, let's say, sequential and kind of soft than going to the whole body from the beginning or going low from the beginning. But one thing you can do, you can kind of mix the nostrils and the whole body, so have some level of the whole body as a background. However, for some people, focusing on the nostrils actually really works. They have that kind of body and mind. People are so different. They have that kind of body and mind that for which it really works, and then just a wonderful idea. But then I would say, yeah, maybe focusing on the whole body at the same time helps things spread more organically. Hope that was helpful. So thank you for my parakeets. I assume that's a kind of bird, and crows. I think it's mynas. I don't know if you know what mynas are, but I think it's them. Are these practices based on yoga philosophy or mindfulness teachings, or rather both? So that's a good question. I kind of expected it to come. So it's based on the instructions coming from my teacher. You can listen to Robert Bea. He's a really fantastic teacher, was a really fantastic teacher. He based it on instructions from one of his teachers. He's called Ajanta Nisaro, and he's in the lineage, he's in one of the Thai forest tradition lineages. So these lineage of the Thai forest tradition, they took the sutta that's called the Anapanasati Sutta. That's actually a very well-known and kind of, it's one of the suttas in which the Buddha gives the most articulated meditation guidance. They took it and they created their variation of it, and actually, when you read about masters, meditation masters, I think mostly in Thailand, but not only, you'll find that they played a lot with the breath. So these days, it's more common to read the instructions in the Anapanasati as a kind of passive thing. You're experiencing the longer in and out breath, etc. In their interpretation, and in many other masters' interpretations, you'll find that they are intentionally breathing in longer and breathing out longer, or doing some other variations. So the short answer is Anapanasati, in one of the lines of the Thai forest tradition lineage, carried by Ajahn Nisaro to the US in English, then carried by my teacher, Robert Bea. Here, yes. How would all right, first a comment, I found breathing into the back of the body interesting, yes. In the upper part, if I overbreathe. So, all right, Wendy, thanks for the comment. Yeah, I think generally speaking, what we want to move in the direction of is an equal spreading. And there is something in the equal spreading that we build there gradually that creates a kind of steadiness, a kind of equanimity, and a kind of willful participation of the body with the mind. So it will be the tendency, I think, for everyone probably, that some areas will be more tense than others. And the way this practice is structured is to kind of dissolve that a little bit and create like a kind of equality of intensity, let's say. And that's part of what's allowing the fullness of participation of one's body. Yes, great birds indeed. Thanks, Katie. That's helpful. So the reflection, I won't repeat. You can see Katie's reflections on the chat. Very helpful. Yeah, that makes sense. Generally speaking, I'm giving instructions and they create a kind of structure. They give some ideas. In them, you're very invited to play. So what I'm hearing from you, relaxing the muscles there, just a little, expanding my breath. Wonderful. Do that. What you want is a sense of center somewhere, sensitivity to the whole body, and a breath that's really nourishing. The way I'm guiding, and I will guide in different ways, later in the week, the way I'm guiding is just one way of doing it. You can find your own, and it sounds like you are, so that's wonderful. All right, so I hear what you're saying about the birds, Jill. Next time I'll try to find maybe a different microphone. I'll see if I can do it by tomorrow. All right, so quite difficult with the noises. All right, so I'll find a different mic. No worries. A question around samadhi and jhana. This kind of samadhi practice is one of the ways that leads to jhana. There are different ways of practicing jhana and even defining what they are. But in one definition, again, leaning on that Thai forest tradition, that kind of samadhi kind of goes organically in the direction of pleasure to the whole body, and that can go in what people would call that's first jhana, and from there things evolve organically. All right. Thank you, Nika. It's good to hear. Good. Thank you, everyone. I think we need to end. I will, since I got a few responses that maybe a different microphone will be helpful, I'll try to make sure that that's possible tomorrow. And that's it. Have a good day. See all of you, hopefully, or some of you tomorrow as well. And let us actually spend just 1 second just dedicating our practice. Really, we're not only practicing for ourselves. May our practice serve others near and far. Thank you. Be well. Go well.